when we look at the Great Divide, we've got scientism on one hand, and then we've got religion on the other hand, and then we've got philosophy floating around between the two. Most people dismiss philosophy because they can't conclude anything from it. With scientism, you can believe in science. With religion, you can believe in religion. And you can think that what is said in those two realms, that's good enough for you to live your life upon. And you can say, well, it's obviously true, the religion, because I can see God's created all these things. And I believe God created me, and I'm happy with that. Then you can say, well, obviously scientism is true because atoms and molecules have created all these things, and I'm happy with atoms and molecules, and so I'll live my life by that. Don't you think both of those things are entirely preposterous? Whereas what and who are considered to be preposterous by the majority are philosophers, when it's only the philosophers that have got the remotest fucking idea. And even if you look at, say, like Buddhism, Buddhism isn't a religion, it's an ideology, it's a philosophy. And so Buddhists are philosophers, they're not religious people. They don't believe, pray, or worship a deity. They have a certain train of thought through their own experience, which they can gain enlightenment or not, and then they will see whatever they consider is a reality for themselves. And so philosophers, without a shadow of a doubt, are the greatest of intellects on the planet. And if you are at all philosophical of mind and you're versed in philosophy, then you will find deciphering this world thing vastly more simple than if you don't have that. If you aren't versed in philosophy and you don't have the knowledge of being able to step outside of your biases and your ego and your projections and your programs and all that, if you can't do that, you're fucked, and you are subject and susceptible to any Tom, Dick and Harry which proposes to you, like Anthony Fauci did in recent times, trust the science. Well, I think most of us know not to do that now, don't we? And that was a brilliant thing, it was a beautiful thing. So inadvertently they shot themselves in the foot by doing that, because now the whole world's sceptical of their bullshit. But what we can say about, if we take on board that we are God, then it's kind of like, well, we don't die. We continue to manifest in some shape or form. Our speck of consciousness appears to be isolated, individuated at this moment in time, but from what we can gather from near-death experiences and psychedelic experiences and supernatural experiences and all the different sorts of things, well, consciousness doesn't die, spirit doesn't die. It just goes on, and it will manifest in another body, or an animal, or whatever. And it all seems very wonderful, doesn't it? And there's no one to get upset with. There's no one to fear. There's no wrath to be afraid of. We don't have to believe. We just fucking look and we feel what this reality is and what our minds are telling us and things like that. And once we interpret that, we go, well, it seems to me that we have all the attributes of God. We can create, we can do all the things that God was capable of doing, creating mayhem and murder and jealousy. Good God, we can do all that stuff. Oh, where we can do all that stuff at the drop of a fucking hat. Water off a duck's back. Creating jealousy, envy, and fucking projecting our wrath and murderous ways onto other people. No problem at all. We can, on the other hand, exercise compassion and sympathy and empathy and turn the other cheek, and we can do all those sort of things. And so those are attributes supposedly of God. Well, we have them, don't we? And so how could God, how could anybody accept that God is greater than us, when God clearly is the biggest cunt and the confused motherfucker that you'll ever read about? And if this character of Yahweh went to a therapy session, the therapist would go, fucking hell, this guy's schizophrenic. He's a bigoted, fucking egotistical, narcissistic, schizophrenic motherfucker. Yes, and that's, ladies and gentlemen, what Jung effectively does in this book. He shows God for being schizophrenic and jealous and wrathful and envious and insecure and all that stuff. Why? Because Jung was a psychiatrist and a psychologist and a brilliant thinker and very, very versed in a whole range of information, supernatural, alchemy and metaphysics and everything like that. And that's what he concluded from his brilliant brain. That this Bible shit was just written by sometimes intelligent people, mostly just retards that didn't even know what the next person read or wrote. It's like Matthew, Mark and Luke. Well, what the fuck? They never even went to the same movie. They just wrote shit down, and it was kind of like if they were sitting around together, they'd go, hey, did you fucking actually know this Jesus guy? No, none of them knew Jesus guy. Just an idea. Just an idea, people. And there's so many variances and massive flaws in the storytelling. And then, you know, to justify that, preachers and promoters of the Bible go, oh, well, yes, well, it's a little bit like if we all saw an accident happen now, well, we'd all have different versions of it, wouldn't we? Yes, well, that's because humans have different versions, because they have fucking flaws in their perception. But you wouldn't expect this from God. And so if it was the word of God and God was working through these motherfuckers, then you would have thought that God would enable them to get the fucking story right. But he never. So therefore, the easiest and most simple, rational, logical explanation is there's no such thing as fucking God in the sky as an autonomous entity. We are motherfucking God. So why do I do this? Because I'm a philosopher, people. I'm a spiritualist and I'm an intellectual. And it's great subject matter. It's great subject matter. Where can you get this level of energy? I've been doing this shit now for 16 years. How can you milk something to such an extent? You can't. If you go into many other realms of philosophy, you just end up in an impasse. You end up in the abyss, and there's nothing to continue. Nothing to continue to promote the firing of neurons. Religion's a big deal because it's human psychology. And so, you know, I immerse myself into other facets of human psychology also, of course, but human psychology drives out to consciousness, which is God. And so what are we doing? God is looking at himself. And that's exactly what the God and the motherfucker was doing in this book. Looking at himself, looking at his flaws, looking at his projections, looking at his inferiority complexes and all that sort of crap. Human, people. And like Nietzsche wrote, human, oh, to human. We project everything from our humanism. How could we ever get a real good handle on this thing when we are so stifled and governed by our own humanism? We've got human eyes, we've got human ears, we've got human brain, we've got human consciousness. We're fucking human, and so we're going to be seeing the world as a human for the better part. And so when we create gods up in the sky, we don't become those gods invariably, do we? But when you stand upon the top of the precipice of all human thinking, you can see that, well, all we're doing is projecting. We're just projecting a god up there. We're projecting a devil down there. We're projecting spooks over there. It's just a projection, people. Where's that projection coming from? You're the projector. Where's the information coming from? It's like, where's the electricity and the movie coming from in the projector? Well, the film is put on and the electricity is turned on, and then the projector does its thing. So this human body has consciousness and it has electromagnetism, which enables firing of the brain and that. So we're nothing more than a projector. The body is the projector, the electricity is the fucking consciousness, and our experience is the movie. Our experience is the movie, people. Whatever we read, whatever we watch, whatever we listen to, that's the movie. We're walking, talking, seemingly thinking projectors. But if the holographic universe has any veracity, if the simulation has any veracity, then we're none of those things. What we are is a computer. We are a dream in the mind of God. And I think that is what the reality is. A dream in the mind of God. And if you are a dream in the mind of God, you are God. You are the essence of God. You're the fundamental stimulant, derivative of God. You're the essence, what comes out of God. You're what God thinks about and projects about and is emotive about. You are it. You hear me, people? You hear me?